be introducing Matthew, who's going to be speaking on tokenization of real-world assets from Kadena Mining.
All right. Thank you, Wendy. And thank you to the whole Flux team for putting on this event. It's really, really awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthew Durnya. Really excited to be here, to see some amazing familiar faces. I feel like I'm on a Twitter space in real life right now. Got the whole Kadena gang here, the whole KMC crew. Tell me about that, like, I don't know. All right, so today we have a really interesting topic, tokenization of real world assets. It's one of the most exciting things, I think, that the technology in our industry really has to offer. But there are some problems with it, so we're going to talk about the problems and we're going to present some solutions as well. First thing I really want to mention about this is tokenization of real world assets. Try saying that 3 times fast. It's a bit of a tongue twister, and that's really one of the major problems I think our industry has. We try to overcomplicate things for some reason. And if we can all come together and really work on that together and improve, I think this industry can be in a much better place. So we're going to talk about this throughout this presentation. So before we can really get into it, we need to know what tokenization of real world assets is. And it's really converting the value or the rights of a real world asset into a token on the blockchain. So for Kadena Mining Club, we do this through NFTs and real ASIC miners. So naturally, it really just makes sense. If you're going to tokenize something, bring something onto the blockchain, bring assets onto a blockchain, I think it really should start with mining. Because without mining, I think we all realize none of us would actually be here. So what we've done at Kadena Mining Club is we have 10,000 amazing NFTs. Each of these NFTs is tied to a real, physical, and miner KA3 that's hosted in our data center. This provides the value of all the mining rewards earned by that miner to the person who owns the NFT. And it also grants the owner the rights to own that physical miner. So the really exciting thing is if you own Kadena Mining Club NFTs, maybe you don't want to mine with us anymore, you can elect to burn your NFTs, and we will ship you the miner that is associated with your product. So we're really bridging the gap between the real world and the digital world with what we're doing. So it's kind of simple. I think, for a lot of us in the industry. We might be a little more knowledgeable than the average person. But how can we make it simpler? And first we have to look at the problems. So it's complex, right? It's complex, and it's getting people to understand what this actually means. Words like tokenize, tokenomics, DeFi, blockchain, cryptocurrency. People think of FTX now, all the terrible things that have happened over the last 2 years. I think we really need to try and rebrand our industry from crypto to just an advancement in computer technology, because that's what it is. What is Kadena? It's an operating system. What is Flux? It's an operating system at the end of the day. So why do we need to keep overcomplicating things? Now, regulatory uncertainty, I'm not going to touch too much on that one, but there is something really interesting that I'll talk about in that regard a little bit later. We have a couple other things, trust and security. So that's both on the blockchain side. So do you trust the blockchain to actually work and do what it says it does, work in an efficient manner? Are we paying really high, crazy fees for our transactions? In the future, will those fees go up if the blockchain expands? And it's also on a business level, right? So for everyone here in Kadena Mining Club, you need to trust that we're going to deliver the product that we say that we're going to deliver. And I think it's so great that we're a US company. We're not hiding in some islands in Cyprus or something where you'll never be able to find us if you choose to run away. We stand behind what we do. And finally, infrastructure limitations. And this is really the key point that I want to drive home today. is infrastructure limitations. Now, if you're a business and you're selling a product on the blockchain because you think there's some benefits to it, why would you build on Ethereum? Because every time your user interacts with your platform, there's burning money. They could be giving you that money to maybe do more business, or they could be doing something else to expand the blockchain ecosystem. But instead, it's just being burned away and wasted. So what are the solutions? Really, we need to simplify terminology. And I'm going to give some examples here in a couple seconds of how we can simplify terminology to make things more understandable for the average person. We have political action. Just one quick thing I want to touch on. I thought it was really interesting. The Kadena blockchain, of course, really being the key driver of all of this, the key driver of bringing real assets onto a blockchain. And then finally, building real businesses, providing real value. I know I was at a panel called Why Buy a JPEG yesterday, and probably shouldn't buy a JPEG, unless you're maybe a fine art collector in some regard, but there should maybe be more. I think the days of the Bored Apes and the CryptoPunks, they might be over to coming to an end. Who knows, but at the end of the day, they don't really do anything. I mean, the art really isn't even that cool on the apes. If you've seen it, it's like, not even that cool. So, what do? I don't know. So, terminology. Just gonna give a couple examples here of things that people in our industry say, which versus what we probably should say, and I'm guilty of this, our business is guilty of this, it's something that we all need to work on together. So, the artist tokenized their masterpiece to give blockchain users fractional shares in the artwork. Imagine saying that to someone on the street. Tokenize, blockchain, fractional shares, you're just gonna turn people off. So instead of talking about all the great technology, why don't we just talk about what the artist is actually doing? They're allowing enthusiasts to gain a stake in their masterpiece's future value. That makes a lot more sense. And I think if you're talking to someone who might be new to this, they'll come into it and say, oh, okay, maybe they'll start asking some questions, and if questions about the technology arises, then you can comment on it. But it's more about what you're doing as a business, not so much the fancy buzzwords. Give another example. Come on, where's the clicker? Oh, over there. All right. The company tokenized gold reserves, converting them into fractional digital units. Again, we're using these big words, but you can make it very simply. With Kadena, the company provided a new way to track gold reserves. A lot of companies are doing this now internally. They're tracking their internal supply chain lines, or banks are running internal blockchain to settle transactions around the world. So why do we have to use these big words, right? And we're looking for, I think, one common denominator, right? One thing that we can always continue is tokenization of real assets. What if we just say Kadena instead? Because Kadena really is, in my opinion, and based on some facts that I'll lay out in a little bit, really the only protocol at the moment that is really purposely built for this. It is purposely built for allowing tokenization of assets. It's really an amazing platform. Now, one further, there's one more, so just, one more example. The government tokenizes bonds, enabling a new digital format for traditional investment. What if the government utilized Kadena to offer a fresh approach for individuals to invest in bonds? Bonds are really boring, no one's probably too interested in bonds. Right now, the yields are quite good on bonds. Maybe it'd be a good time if bonds rebranded and it became a little more exciting. Teach people about maybe, more reserved financial management. I know you guys want to care about that, right? I mean, we're going all in on Flux, we're going all in on Kadena, we don't care about bonds. So Kadena really the only platform I think something like this can operate on. We'll give some examples in a moment. But I recently had the pleasure of going to Hong Kong for World Digital Mining Summit, the largest really mining conference in the world put on by Bitmain. And the head of public policy for one of the largest Bitcoin mining companies in the world really gave a fantastic presentation, and I thought this was really interesting, so I just wanted to share it with everybody. Political action Recently, a couple bills went up in the House Financial Services Committee, and in government right now in the U.S., we're very divided. A lot of things are just voted down party lines. There's no negotiation, no back and forth. There's I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I don't care what you think. And it's not a good thing. We need to fix this. But what's interesting is when it comes to voting on crypto, it's not voted on party lines, but it's voted on age. So the people who are voting like, yes, pro-crypto, let's do things good in this, let's bring this technology forward because it has value. They're all the young people. They're about 45 years old. Meanwhile, everybody who votes no is 70 plus years old. And yeah, why not? This woman, Maxine Waters, okay, I just gotta pick on her for a second because she was the head of the House Financial Services Committee, and she had no financial background. She was an English major, I think, so how does that make any sense? That meant she never worked in finance, but she was running the House Financial Services Committee. Doesn't make any sense. We need to get new young people in to the government, I believe, that will be more willing to adopt things like blockchain, like this technology, but also just, I think, get us all back on the right track so we can all come together and be one big happy family. So, talked about a couple of the problems with complexity and understanding. We touched a little bit on regulatory uncertainty, talking about getting younger people in. And now I'd like to talk about trust, security, and of course infrastructure limitations. So we're going to get into talking about Kadena and what we're specifically doing at Kadena Mining Club now and into the future. So, the solutions. We're going to go right into Kadena now, but before we do that, we got to look into the past. Now, computers are over 100 years old, which is quite shocking, honestly. The original computers, some of you may know, would have filled up this entire conference hall that we're in now. Now here's my computer that has more power than the first space shuttle. And of course, just a quick laptop example. But so where am I going with this? This industry is so young. Bitcoin is just under 14 years old, I believe. But, and I might get some hate for this, in regards to tokenization of real world assets and a lot of other things, it just simply doesn't work. All right, and we have a bunch of examples here. El Salvador, a good example, as everybody knows, are adopting Bitcoin to be used for everyday money. But unfortunately, when I guess people maybe in the Western world, I don't know if people like El Salvador particularly were investing in ordinals and doing ordinals, but ordinals are essentially, right, they're contracts. They're smart contracts. It could be anything, it could be a picture, it could be maybe ownership of a miner on the Bitcoin network. And when people try to work with real assets and do real things on Bitcoin, the network slows down, it's clogged up, and the people who need it most can't use it. It doesn't sound like the future of money, it doesn't sound like the future of technology to me. Maybe there's some use cases in terms of store of value, but I'm not sure about that myself. And Ethereum, the next runner-up, I think a lot of people use Ethereum. This is an interesting one. Since they've upgraded to proof of stake, they talked about it for like 4 years. We're going to proof of stake, we're going to proof, it's going to lower the fees, everything's going to get better, it's going to be the best blockchain in the world. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. And since 2021, when that happened, over $9 billion, it's probably over $10 billion now, of real people's money, anyone in here has used Ethereum, 10 billion is just gone. Just gone forever. What? So the price of Ethereum can deflate and maybe go up so that people who have nodes, you need 32 ETH to run a node. How is that decentralized at all? It's not. It's very, very centralized. And the people with more just get richer. And the people who are just trying to maybe, use a new product or learn something new, they just get priced out. And it goes back to what I was saying. If you're building a company, why would you purposely impose these high transaction fees on your customers? They can buy more of your product if there's no transaction fees. I think any business person chooses, oh, that makes sense. Maybe we shouldn't be building on this platform. So what's the answer?
Bullshit.
What is the answer?
A full system state computer theory.
Maybe. I still didn't hear you, unfortunately, but. So, Kadena, it very well be the answer. We're just going to give you a quick rundown on Kadena, what makes it so special. So, the two co-founders, they met at JP Morgan. They built JP Endpoint, recently hit the news for settling $300 billion in transactions. Now, these two gentlemen, very, very intelligent. Stuart Popejoy, he's the author of PAC. Will Martino, he worked at the SEC prior to going over to JP Morgan, so he's quite familiar with the rules. And Will Martino is also the inventor of Chainweb. I have the inventor of Chainweb for both Stuart and Will. I think it was actually both of them are on the patent. So Chainweb is patented, so no one can come and just take it. There could be legal repercussions possibly. And I want to mention Dr. Stuart Haber, the advisor of Kadena. He has 30 plus years of experience in cryptography. He's one of the most, I think I haven't met the guy, but you can listen to him talk, and not the most social character, but you can tell he's very intelligent, I think, when you listen to him speak. In 30 years in the industry, that's more than most. He's also the most cited individual in the Bitcoin white paper, so he's not just your average guy. You can go look it up yourself in Satoshi's original white paper. So what makes Kadena so special? I could be here for talk about a lot of things, but we'll just keep it kind of high level. Chainweb, and it's really the only blockchain architecture capable of handling the world's transactions. Stuart Popejoy himself says, forge 80,000 transactions plus per second with layer 2 implemented, which is amazing. 480,000, and you pay no gas fees. It's amazing. Pact is the next thing, the native smart contract language for Kadena, and it's human readable, so anyone can really get in, pick it up, and I'm not saying you can become a Pact developer overnight, but maybe you have a bit better of an idea of what's going on versus maybe reading a Solidity contract, for example, no knowledge of any technical offers whatsoever. And I'll give a quick shout out to what makes Pact so great. So when we were originally minting Kadena Mining Club, our original mint, we were taking Ethereum as a payment method to try to onboard people from ETH to the Kadena ecosystem. And in order to do that, we had to build our own, it was a pretty complicated bridge to get it from ETH to Kadena, and we needed to manually do it. So you go into the Chainweaver, into the programming tool for Kadena, and our developer, he was off, he had to go somewhere for a couple days, so I was in charge of manually minting those NFTs over to Kadena. And it wasn't that difficult, but you had to do some brackets and some commas, and I misplaced the comma, which I don't know what would have happened if I did it on ETH, but on Kadena, the Pact knew. It was like, hey man, you don't know what you're talking about, you missed something, go back and look at it, do it again. I was like, oh, okay, I did do it wrong. Went back, did it again, boom, it worked. The last 25,000 transactions that have occurred on our marketplace and on our dashboard have only cost $1 in gas fees. That's it, $1. And we pay. Thank you. Those platforms are Kadena. We didn't really do anything, they built it for us. So 25,000 transactions, $1 in gas fees. If you on the ETH, you're lucky if that's just $100,000 gone forever. We got a lot of KMC family in the crowd. Could you imagine if you guys had to pay $5 every time you wanted to get your Kadena? You would stop you from buying it altogether, right? I mean, that was back when you were mining ETH on proof of work. For those of you maybe only had 1 GPU or 2 GPUs, you had to mine for months and just leave your coins in the pool, hope the pool doesn't disappear, and then you can withdraw it when, okay, it makes a little sense. You gotta wait up until 2, 3 in the morning when gas fees are low, try to save a few bucks, and then still the gas fee is 3, 4, 5 days of mining. It's like, come on. None of this happens on Kadena. So this is one of the things I'm most excited about, and one of the things I really think Kadena was built for. Continuous transaction. So what's a continuous transaction? think of anything like your Netflix subscription, your Amazon Prime subscription, maybe you have a car payment, mortgage payment, you're a company and you provide payroll services. You don't want to do that every month. Imagine if every month you had to pay all of your subscription bills manually. I mean, my grandma used to do that. She would drive down to the water company and then deliver the check by hand to the water company. But for us in this room, I was like, that's absurd. I just want to click 2 buttons and never have to think about it again. Well, in Kadena, this is what it's built for. So subscription payment services, on-chain payments automatically executed based on agreed parameters. So you sign one contract, and that allows a company to debit, whether it's a stable coin or Kadena, out of your wallet, certain periods of time on certain parameters. And then of course, you can continue to use the service. It's like you can cancel Netflix anytime, like when they raise the price every 3 months, or if you like it, you keep using it. And this is one of the things that's really going to drive our business going forward. So, I think, say a little bit more, to give everyone a little bit more picture on how this works in a traditional Web 2 method. So you're talking about mining, right? You're talking about mining, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Kadena, traditional miner hosting. You maybe live somewhere, you live in an apartment, or there's high electricity rate wherever you live, and you just can't run an ASIC at home. It's not profitable. So you find a trusted data center, third party that will run your miner for you. So you gotta buy the miner. You gotta wait for it to get to the facility. You gotta wait for them to turn it on. And then, once it gets running, you need to remember to pay that monthly invoice that comes by Web 2. You're mining Bitcoin, you're mining Kadena. We're using world fans of cryptocurrency, but then there's still, the hosts are still, oh, can I get a wire transfer? Why? And then, I don't have step 4 on here, but step 4 would be, what if you wanted to sell that ASIC miner? Then you gotta tell the hosting facility's gotta pull it off the rack, they gotta ship it to you, hope it doesn't get damaged, you gotta receive the miner, test it, make sure it works, take pictures of it, list it on eBay, hope someone buys it, box it up, ship it out, hope it doesn't get broken, hope someone doesn't steal it, it gets stolen off a porch, maybe it gets damaged in shipping, or the person on the other end is just a scammer. That's like 10 things that can go wrong with traditional finance, traditional centralized marketplaces that aren't on something like a blockchain. And here we go, we got high cost, so I mentioned the wire transfers. You get options sometimes, we get options to pay in stablecoin, but they all want it on ETH. So it's okay, all right, whatever, they'll pay a $40 fee, again, just to send some money. Doesn't make any sense. The opportunity costs for paying for miners now to mine later, weeks, sometimes even months of waiting. In the Kadena Mining Club family, we know that, I think, better than anybody. And it's so much opportunity cost lost. And then finally, like we mentioned, the liquidity, the issues actually selling that. So how do we fix it? I think we've solved a lot of these problems with Kadena Mining Club, liquidity being the first one. Our miners are alive on the blockchain. The contracts to own our miners are alive on the blockchain. If you go on our marketplace, which will have a QR code soon, you can buy a Kadena miner, turn it on, and be mining within, like 3 minutes? Imagine if you're going, I gotta go on eBay, gotta go find a gold shell, maybe they're, I don't know, so like Katie bar, and like a month later you have your mine, maybe. Low costs, so thanks to Kadena, we mentioned is $0 to claim rewards, no gas fees on Kadena. We impose a 5% royalty on sales. Our artists did an excellent job, and we put a lot of work into this. So I think there should be some recurring revenue for us. But it's still 60% lower than eBay. You want to sell an ASIC on eBay, it's 12.5%. And of course, a memorable, why can't I say that word? Memorable, there we go. Memorable experience. So 10,000 NFTs, fully animated, living on the blockchain. I mean, just look at that thing, it's absolutely awesome. We got Way, we got Dan, in the crowd, so where you got that? Well, Dane's waving around the corner, guys. There he is. Dane, where's Way? Oh, there's Way too. Way, you're the man. So good to see you, White Tom. All right, so on the screen right now we have our miner marketplace. That QR code is in the top right. If you'd like to buy a miner, it's on chain 8. You gotta have your Kadena on chain 8. This is our marketplace right now. Over 10,000 individual miners are mining with us. There's only 26 NFTs listed on the marketplace, so I should say roughly because this isn't live. About 26 listed on the marketplace out of 10,000, and 1.1 million Kadena in trading volume on these things. So people really like them, and a lot of you guys who support us so much, we really appreciate you all for making it out here. It means the world to me and the team, it really does. So, but what's coming soon? So if you guys know KMC, this is our standard marketplace. What's coming soon? A lot of you guys know we're going to be allowing people to mint any miner on the Kadena blockchain soon, whether it's a Bitcoin miner, Litecoin miner, Dogecoin miner. Maybe we might skip Cas, but we're still trying to decide on that one. Create your own hosting contracts. So maybe you want to diversify your risk a little bit. Maybe you want to earn yield on upcharging electricity. Maybe you want to sell your own Bitcoin miners to your own customers and then charge a little more for the management. So all be able to do on our next marketplace. Upgrading your miners, so we're doing that now with the immersion fluid. So if you guys in KMC know, you might have seen our immersion miner outside. Our original NFTs were all air-cooled. We're taking those original miners, dunking them in the immersion tank, and we're inviting you along with that experience as well. We mentioned continuous transactions and, of course, no gas fees. So I just have 2 more slides to go. We're supposed to have a nice image, though. I don't know where it went, but I want to talk about Paraguay. It's a little country in South America, and they have the world's 3rd largest hydroelectric dam. It has an excess of 5,000 gigawatts of power. It's an unfathomable amount of power. And that's why they can do such a low electricity rate of 3.9 cents. So this is what's coming for Kadena Mining Club next year, is a 3.9 cent electricity rate. And we really like Paraguay, because you might not have heard of Paraguay, you might not have any opinions on it, but for a South American country, they really do have quite sound policy. They have low inflation, and they're quite fiscally responsible as well. So something to look into, to do some of your own research on that one. I want to announce that if you want to take part in the 3.9 cents per kilowatt hour, you want to mine a lot of Bitcoin, you want to mine a lot of Kadena, we are now taking investments, we're taking purchases. If you want to get a megawatt, we're starting with a megawatt. We're going to allow everybody to get, whether you have 1 miner, whatever, 5 miners or 10, but we're starting with the big fish. So if you're interested in having a megawatt or more of space in Paraguay to mine for 3.9 cents, please come and talk to me. Starting at $250,000, 3.9 cents per megawatt of power. And that's full infrastructure, everything's built out for you. All you gotta do is bring the miners at that point. So it's a really amazing opportunity, I think. You can't really get these energy rates here in the US anymore, especially with 99+% uptime like we're having in Paraguay. So, tokenization of real-world assets, we talked about the problems, it's complex, it's hard to understand for the average person, the regulatory uncertainty, the trust and limitations of the blockchain. I think we've learned that we need simplified terminology, we need to take some political action, maybe get some younger people in office. We need to build on Kadena and stop charging our customers for no reason, burning their money for no reason. And we need to build real businesses, everybody. You know, if this technology is so great, we should be able to build real businesses on it, and that should be the incentive for people to come and use it. To use the use case of your business, not to make, whether it's not to make money on your business or we really need to start moving forward like a real industry that's not just about, going to the moon. It needs to be more than that if we really want to make a difference. So, with all that being said, if you'll allow me, I'd love to invite the whole Kadena and Kadena Mining Club family up here. Take a picture. Is that okay with me? Yeah. Is that all right? If you guys want to come up here, everyone at KMC, everyone at Kadena, get up here. I'll take a big, nice photo. And we got a bunch of people here. I want to see everybody get up here. Be real quick. Look at everybody. This is a Kadena conference or a Club Cup.